Hello and welcome to Hanging with Howie. I'm the substitute teacher tonight, Brian. Kids, behave yourselves or I'll call the principal down here. And that principal does not play.
And we don't want that.
But, Howie's not here, but gee, we have a lot of other people here. We got John, Boston John, he's here tonight. We've got Buddy from Chicago. We got Kevin from Ohio, I think.
Yep, Buckeye Nut.
Buckeye. Yeah, right on, man. We got Eric. Thank you for the Batman album.
Hello.
And of course, Mr. Jay Brennan. He's dialing in from AOL, I think.
Points
tonight.
unknown.
Yes.
Dialing in from 1996.
It sounds great. It sounds really nice. I'm kind of digging the retro thing with that. I got nothing planned tonight. This is kind of a hang show anyway. So let's hang. What do you say, guys?
Let's just hang. I think Jay should plug in his 8-inch headphones and talk into the headphone like we've all had to do at one point or another at a gig.
Yeah.
What do you say, Jay?
And the mic's not working on the headphones. I don't have my regular headphones now.
No, just use the mic as the headphones is what he's saying.
Right. Yeah.
Talk into the
I
headphone.
don't have any regular headphones near.
Oh, gotcha.
I got
So,
a lot of
Eric,
junk here, but
have you ever done the opposite where you use the microphone to cue songs?
I've done everything you can imagine with those headphones.
No,
And
with the mic. Plug a mic into the headphone jack and listen to your tracks. That works too, and I've had to do it before.
That's impossible.
No, it's the same
You
thing.
can't plug a headphone into the mic and listen.
If you can plug a mic into the headphone, you can plug a headphone into the mic, and it's the same thing. You can hear it, you cup it, and you listen, and you can cue with it. I've done it. For real.
Okay, I've honestly never done that.
Yeah, it works that way too.
I have used headphones as a mic, and boy, is that boomy when you talk into that ear cup.
Yeah.
I've used the headphone
Yeah,
as a mic. Yeah.
You could.
Yeah.
So we're all here and we're healthy and we're happy. Jay has returned to us from NAMM relatively unscathed.
didn't get COVID.
Didn't get COVID. Can't say that for everybody,
Can't say that for everybody.
but you did not get COVID. How
I did
was
not
it?
get COVID.
I mean, what the hell? I know we're not going to see this show until the 4th of July, but how was Winter NAMM?
It was good. They gave us a count of 95,000 attendees. And it was
Okay.
considerably busier than the one we did in April.
Right.
And they said that one had 60.
Okay.
This one had 95, and I buy it. It was
Right.
it was hinging on. I said it was probably about a 80% NAMM,
Right.
70-80% of a normal NAMM. But it was good. A lot of the big players still have not come back. Huge guitar companies, a lot of DJ companies were no shows.
Mhm.
But I can't run out of the company's business for them. We were there. We had a launch. We had a couple of things going on. So, it's an opportunity for us to get in front of our sales teams, get in front of dealers, because it's really a dealer show. This was the first time they sold tickets to the public.
Right. Right. I heard that.
Which I didn't know until NAMM started. So once that word goes out, that'll change next NAMM big
Right.
time,
Right.
because they're going to advertise. They tried it this time and they thought it worked really well. So, I mean, you're talking, you could pick up 30, 40,000 outsiders.
Do you think that's
If I
going
was
to
wanting to
chase
go to
away
NAMM?
some of the old school people who like were there and kind of felt safe because it wasn't general public?
You know what? I don't think so, because NAMM, the first couple of years I was doing NAMM back in the early 2000s, you would invite, as a company, you would maybe get 30 tickets, 30 passes, 50 passes that you would send out to your people,
Mm-hmm.
and they would bring people. Well, I mean, I talked with companies this year that got 600 tickets, 500 tickets. That's on top of who you bring.
I was thinking
So,
more about autograph seekers.
Well, here's the funny thing. I think COVID has changed that for a while, meaning there were nowhere near the celebs this year. I mean, I saw a bunch of rocker celebs that I knew.
Right.
Stevie Wonder was there. I did see Stevie Wonder.
I saw Don Felder was there. That's kind of neat.
Yeah, John Felder was there. Geezer Butler was there.
Mhm.
I saw him. We had John Payne of Asia performing our booths 2 days Friday and Saturday.
Nice.
You know, there were people there, but it's always been an older rock show.
Right.
Like Bruno Mars isn't going to NAMM.
Right.
But the guys from Bang Tango, they're going to be there.
Right.
You know, Ola, England was there. You get that kind of crowd. So
yeah,
for the rock crowd,
Donnie Iris is there, but you don't recognize.
I think it might bring them back.
Yeah,
I think
maybe
they know there's a new. Yeah, I think there's a new audience, and they want it. You know, 4 days of being recognized is exactly what they missed. I would if I was famous for a period and then suddenly went into obscurity, and to be around a crowd that loves you. I mean, you've been there enough, Brian. You've seen the Hilton that year I played. I mean, I'm playing a Saliva song, and the drummer for Saliva is standing next to you. So
right,
that's the kind of crowd that goes to NAMM.
Yeah.
Do you happen to remember
as far as the technology? What's that?
Do you happen to remember what Stevie Wonder was looking at?
I think he was just
touching. I don't know.
He was playing the piano. He did a performance.
I think Stevie goes into every booth, by the way. He does everything. He checks everything.
He did a performance for In-Ear Monitor, and there was probably 200 people around a 20 by 30 booth. It was packed.
No, I wasn't trying to
bring security and all that.
I wasn't trying to be funny.
He goes into most.
You tried. You failed. You tried. You failed.
But I
meant like what was he interested in? That's all.
Steve is interested in everything. He's a tech freak.
He's very synthy. He goes in all the synth companies. But when I saw him, he was actually giving a performance. Like I walked by, my wife and son came, so I told them he was playing it too. Typical rock star, didn't go on until 2:30, but I think they caught him doing "Isn't She Lovely?"
Oh, that's great.
I heard him do Sir Duke. He did Superstition. He probably did 5 songs. So,
when Jay's at NAMM, he's kind of stuck in the Pioneer booth most of the time. That's where he is. Yeah. On the other hand, when I'm at NAMM, I'm roaming everywhere. Yeah. And the 2 memorable places that I've kind of crossed paths with Stevie Wonder at NAMM would be at the FPT booth, which is speakers, and in the GTS microphone booth, which is obviously microphone stuff. Right. So he tends to take everything.
When was the last year you were there?
Well, 2020.
Oh, okay. Then 2020, they did it probably 2018, 19. They started putting everyone together. Like they stopped making it synth, sheet music, DJ, guitar. They just said,
mixed it up.
Isn't working. They decided instead, here you go. So if you go to look at DJ stuff, you came to Hall A. If you're into guitars, you're in Hall C. If you're in drums, you're Hall B, and so on. So we were in the DJ section. And, if he didn't play it in-ear, which was 2 booths away from us, he wouldn't have been over there at all. Because I don't think there's anything for him over there. But you remember Chinatown? Downstairs? Chinatown is closed now, and it's moved upstairs behind me. So you're talking 10, 15 foot by 15 foot, 10 by 10, 20 by 20 booths from China. And almost any speaker you can name, I saw either a copy of it or the original version of it without the label. Like I'm talking Evolve 50s. And I looked at him and I'm like, and the guy just kind of looked at me and smiled and shook his head like this. And the sub had like an extra handle but I mean, it was amazing. Like every mic I've ever seen, there was a mic distributor.
I remember playing that game. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I remember playing that game with Scott Davies over at Pro Light and Sound in Germany. We were walking through and we had just released a piece. I don't remember what it was called. But as we're walking through, all of a sudden we see that same piece in some booth, that we'd never heard of. And he smiled and he's like, yeah, it's our piece. We developed it. We had a factory make it, but we didn't patent it because that costs money. So the name of the game is get it out first, get it out good. He said, and after that, you move on to the next thing. That's just how they were doing business at the time. So if the companies are not patenting design, then the factories who make it see opportunities. And not only that, but I think you only got to get like 10% around design to get around a patent anyway. Isn't it something like 10%?
I mean,
and
yeah, they had everything. They had everything. I mean, you name it, they had it. Little line arrays, big line arrays, fog machines in like the size of my phone with timers on them. It was weird. I was telling you and John, there was one company and all they make is pots that light up, that have step lighting. So as you turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 light up, and then 5 through 10 stay unlit till you engage that number. You move a fader up, everything lights up underneath. I mean, it was just, it's a lot of little things.
I just had a thought. And maybe I'm wrong here, but again, going back to the ADJ days, the big deal for Scott was to go to the Beijing show. And it was huge. You go through there, you would see something that you like, you would meet the manufacturer, you would make your changes and place orders. They would make it for you over there. And I'm wondering if this Chinatown section we're talking about here isn't almost trying to bring Beijing to America.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's less about here's the knockoff version of it and more about here's what we can do, and you don't have to go to Beijing, China to see this technology.
Well, it's funny because I remember when you and I talked about this, and Pulse and I talked about this years ago about the whole, I'm only going to buy American DJ and Chauvet. I'm not going to buy these rip-off lights. When it first started to be, man, it had to be like 2008, 9, somewhere in there, that I was getting phone calls from DJs saying, hey, do you want to get these LED par cans? If you order 20, it's this much. If you order 10, it's this much. But I'm trying to get enough guys to get like an entire shipping crate full. And then the price goes down again. It was this weird thing. Now it's like there's no shame in just putting up a table and going, here you go.
Right.
Here's all the products you want for nothing. And it's like the regular retail is $400. I'll sell it to you for $100, which means you're making money at $100.
Right.
Okay, I guess everyone's happy. But there was, it wasn't, I don't want to paint the picture of it was all rip-off stuff. It was a lot of stuff I'd never seen before, especially in the speaker category.
Right.
Like mini arrays, weird arrays that you can pivot, just a lot of weird technology. But it will be interesting to see if that technology makes it over.
Right. Gets
onto
implemented
the shelves
into
with
something.
Names on it.
Yeah.
Because the companies that are there they're not painting hey, we're ABC speakers.
Right, we're just a manufacturer that makes this.
Yeah,
that sounds like what Beijing is.
Yeah.
What's the quality level? Is this like prosumer, or is this better than into the pro level?
Some of it, John, I saw a couple lights that were moving heads that had to be about a foot in diameter. I mean, they were giant. And I saw, you remember Russ Brown? You know him, Brian. He's working for a German company that had one of the movers. And I'm like, hey, Ben, these are awesome. What are they going for? He goes, these are 9,500. Well, then you go like 50 feet away and it's like you see almost the same thing. And it's like, how much are these? And they're like, 900. And it's like, what?
Right.
Like you couldn't use them at a wedding if you had to. We're talking like stadium lighting.
It's a lot of, we were talking about this the other night, just hanging out. A lot of the stuff is house of worship. Yeah. That's like the hot market
the stuff
now.
They're making is like, you could put into a theater.
Yeah, and that's what the house of worship is.
It's DJs showing up with it.
I mean, without getting theological about things, when you go into, something like a church, a lot of it is entertainment value, or it is now. That's attractive to people, and they don't want to go sit in some stuffy church and have some guy just read scripture. They need some bang zoom, and the more flash bang you have, the more of an audience you're going to attract, and they go big on this stuff in some of these churches. Yeah, you still have the traditional, neighborhood church, but some of these, mega churches or even the medium-sized churches
or mega church,
it's a show.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
70-foot LCD wall behind them. It looks like Taylor Swift
100%.
production.
Yeah. Well, my brother was, telling me my
I mean-
sister-in-law works at a church, and he goes sometimes. He says it's like going to a concert. It's like going to a rock and roll show.
I would love to hear just
Yeah.
a closer walk with thee with 280, 18-inch sub, and some nice tops.
I don't think there's.
would.
All you got to do is go to one of these mega churches on a Sunday or maybe a Saturday. I think they're open
I
more
think
than one
you'll
day a
hear
week
it.
now.
No, that's not. It really is the avenue they've all taken. These
Free
churches.
admission.
Yeah, yeah.
They're going to pass a plate though.
Well, because
Be ready for
it's
that.
a show.
Yeah.
It's a show.
Yeah.
In a lot of respects, it's a show, and for that show, you need to give the better show. You
Right.
need to have the better lights and the
Yeah.
better video.
It's just like any other.
This wasn't
Dare I
a
say
video
business.
show.
Well, yeah.
On the downside of the show, the big players that you would expect to see at a show like this, they were nowhere. Like, as far as lights go, there were two lighting companies that I found, JMAS and Rasha. That's it.
I know ADJ was there.
No, I take that back. ADJ was next to it.
Yeah. They
Totally
sponsored a
messed up.
stage. I don't know if it was.
I did see Brian. I did see Etronics. I did see Edgar. I did see Tom. Yeah, they were right next to us. They had a small booth, but I'll tell you, their booth was really good. It was
Was
really
there a stage
well
in the
done.
booth or was it somewhere else?
They must have done the outside stage because
They did the outside. They had a stage and they had a lot of really cool acts on there. Like they had a yacht rock cover act and some. I just didn't know if it was.
Oh, they did
at the
that
booth?
arena, the back arena. Yeah,
Okay.
we did that one year with sound, and yeah, that did have a lot of acts. If you're into musical acts, I mean, Lindsey Sterling played on the Yamaha stage, which is in the middle
Mhm.
between the two hotels. I saw King's X the first night, Thursday night. RCF sponsored them in the arena. There was nobody in the arena. Remember in the old days, the arena would have like 100 little lighting companies.
Yeah.
Nobody in the arena but RCF.
Really.
So Justin was nice enough to give me some VIP passes and hung out there. Could not convince anyone in my booth to figure out who King's X was. No one. And I kept saying, maybe they're more for musicians. And the next day, this guy came up to me to talk about some DJ gear, and I recognized him. And it was Matt Sorum from Velvet Revolver, Guns N' Roses, The Cult, little bands.
No.
And he's in Palm Springs now, and he's got a studio, and he's interested. He's writing with Billy Gibbons right now, and they're doing kind of an electronic thing.
Well, wouldn't be the first time. I mean, Afterburner for Billy Gibbons was an electronic album that was out Fairlight CMI.
Well, and oddly enough, I think the guys, I was with Pulse and somebody else, and they were trying to be in the conversation. And I said, no, this totally makes sense to me. I'm like, you have great percussion with you. You have Billy on guitar. I mean, he can sing. This is just going to be another, Halford and John Five doing two.
I mean,
He's
geez,
like, oh,
Afterburner
man.
was 40 years ago, man.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
do you remember two with John Five and Rob Halford? It was kind of an industrial
no, I
electronic
don't remember
act.
that.
It flew way under the radar. Like, way. I think the track on it was Pig, but it was John Five on guitar. It was like really the first time a lot of us ever had heard of him. And Rob Halford was singing. It was between Priest and his band Fight. And it was very electronica, very kind of something Quentin Tarantino would use in a vampire movie at 3 a.m. kind of vibe. If that opens,
right. I did make a mistake at the beginning. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, but it was funny. I said to Matt Sorum, I go, oh, hey, did you check out King's X last night? He goes, no, man. Where? I said, the arena. I said, we went. He goes, how were they? I said, Doug sounded amazing. He goes, yeah. So Pulse, who went with me for like 4 songs and bailed.
Right.
And Matt and a couple other people were like, just nodding their heads. I'm like, I told you, musicians like King's X. And he's like, oh yeah, they're a total musicians band. And they're all looking at me like, so what you're getting along with the guy from Guns N' Roses pretty well. I'm like, yeah, because we're talking music, guys. That's like where I become in my element. Because, side note, I was out of the booth using the washroom, and my phone goes off, and I had my earbud in because I couldn't hear my text go off in my pocket. And since I was really running the show this year, I couldn't miss text. And the text was, Corey Feldman's here and he's looking for you. So I went back, and Corey and I and his band and his security had a great 30-minute discussion about the Limp Bizkit tour he's opening and how good, Riot Fest was. You've probably seen the video where he comes out on stage and stops the band, and
Right.
his take on that whole day was just like, it was one of the best shows we've ever done. I'm like,
All right.
those YouTube videos lie, I guess. But yeah,
well,
he's got a new keyboardist, and he wants her to
well,
talk to
obviously.
me about obviously. Courtney, because he goes, I don't know if you know this, but Courtney's not with us anymore. And I wanted so bad to say she's dead, but I didn't. I wanted so bad to put him on the spot, but I didn't.
Poor
So it's
Corey.
like, yeah, I haven't seen you guys since I saw you at Coach House. Oh my God, you know how big we've gotten since then? It's like, yeah, I mean, you're in the media a lot, dude. Strike while the iron's hot. This was Friday. And then Friday night, he performed at a thing called Creators that I DJ'd with Pulse for. And it was YouTube creators with over 500,000 subscribers. They were invited, free food and booze. And they had different guitar guys, Steve from Boston and Max Payne, and all these guitar guys get up and perform on stage. And Corey came in and performed. There were no tuners in the room from what I was able to hear. And you count 1, 2, 3, 4. You do that now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, the count was so off. Pulse and I just looked at each other like, they didn't have monitors, so they couldn't tell. Their beat was just drifting in and out of the room. But again, another, important day when the booth goes, are you friends with him? I'm like, sort of.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Well, I made the
But it was
mistake
fun. I mean,
early on in the show where I asked Jay a question and he burnt up all of our time. So we're out of time.
Great story, though.
This is a short
that
show.
was just Thursday. It was a 4-day show.
We'll come back next week for more.
Just 30,
For Friday.
just 30.
Thanks for all the heavy lifting, guys.
When we get back.
So tomorrow in our world, we're going to be doing the Tuesday night music show with Boston John. And we're also going to be doing the Tuesday night. We're going to be the record roundup with Boston John tomorrow. And we're going to be doing the Tuesday night music show with us. So come back for that. And we'll see you next time. Thank you, Jay, for all of your behind the scenes stories.
No Namthrax.
No Namthrax.
Namthrax.
He made it out alive. You know why? Because he's eating meat again. Got his immune system up. It's helpful.
Might be that.
Might be that.
Could be the vitamin D. I don't know.